This is the Work at Home Heroes podcast. Your host, Caitlin Pyle, digs deep with people from all over the world who make money from home. Get ready to wake up to a world of possibility for freedom, flexibility, and a life you'll love.
Well, hey everybody, welcome back to the Work at Home Heroes podcast. I'm here with Melody Spencer. Now, Melody is a digital marketing strategist, consultant, and Facebook ad specialist for soul-focused, high-vibe female entrepreneurs and coaches. She's been working in the digital marketing industry for 7 years, and with 4 of those, she's been working for herself. She loves helping female business owners learn to utilize Facebook ads to find their soulmate clients and to create a strategic digital marketing plan that rocks. Welcome to the show, Melody.
Hey, thanks so much for having me.
Where are you joining us from today?
I am in Wilmington, North Carolina, here in the United States. We are famous for filming Dawson's Creek here, if you ever watched that. So
no way. That's really cool. No, I didn't watch that. I didn't know that it was in North Carolina and Wilmington. That's really cool.
Yeah, Dawson's Creek was filmed here and One Tree Hill. So those are our big claim to fame.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
We'll have to come visit at some point. I know that a lot of my favorite shows during, I liked watching Seventh Heaven. Fun fact. I don't know where that was filmed. I know it was Glen Oak, California.
I don't know, probably LA or something on a set, but who knows?
Yeah. Well, Melody, thanks again so much for joining us. You live in Wilmington, and you said that's about 10 minutes from the beach when we were offline, so that's really cool. Tell us a little bit more about how you got into doing what you do, or give us a little background first. Like, who are you? Do you have family? Stuff like that. Anything you want to share with us?
Sure. So I am 34. I have been married for almost 11 years. Went to college in North Carolina, met my husband there while he was finishing grad school, and then we ended up moving here to Wilmington about 4.5, 5 years ago. I have 2 really crazy dogs who are in the other room now, so they wouldn't bark on this call. Usually they like to make their presence known on calls and videos. So I love living at the beach. I love doing what I do and helping female entrepreneurs. And yeah, kind of how I got started was, so I graduated college right when the recession hit. So like there were no jobs at all. I had just gotten married. I was real depressed because there was nothing for me to do. I ended up working retail and wherever else I could work for years. Lots of corporate jobs, administrative jobs that were just really soul-sucking and weren't a picture of the life that I thought I wanted. Because, when I was graduating college, I thought everybody just gets a job, you stay there forever, you retire, the end. I never really pictured anything beyond that, but when that picture didn't come out the way that I thought it would initially right away, because of the recession, because of the lack of jobs, and I think the lack of my confidence in myself, honestly, I kind of had to reevaluate what I wanted and try something else.
Yeah. I love that. So you said that in late 2013, you submitted an application. We have all of our guests before they appear on the show submit an application. So I know a lot about you, Melody. You said you reached a point of desperation in your administrative assistant job. Can you tell us a little bit more about what your life looked like when you were working at that job?
So we had just moved here to Wilmington, and I didn't have that many friends. I wasn't really well connected yet. I literally just took the first job that offered me a job when I moved there because we needed money and I needed something to do to get out of the house. And it was a toxic work environment. Everybody was just not nice, and my boss was really needy, and I worked all the time. I did a million jobs. I was making hardly any money, and I just was like, I'm done with this. I'm over it. So I had been doing some social media management and content marketing on the side for a friend for free, for pro bono work for her company. And I realized, hey, I'm actually really pretty good at this, and I feel like I should be getting paid for this. So I told my husband, I said, I think I'm going to quit. I think I'm just going to quit, and I'm going to see what happens. And he was a little skeptical at first, but he also knew how miserable I was. I mean, I was crying every day at my desk. I couldn't sleep because I had so much anxiety over my boss and my work environment and my coworkers. And it was just bad. So he knew that either I had to quit and find another job that would make me that miserable, or I had to quit and try something different. So I chose the latter.
Well, it certainly sounds like you are happier, healthier, and making more money than you were before. If you don't mind me asking, at your corporate job, what kind of money were they paying you for the stress that they were giving you every day?
I think it was like $20,000 a year.
Oh my gosh, that sounds a lot like my job. I started working as an administrative assistant. It was like $12 an hour, which came out to like $24,000 a year. You cannot live on that. I mean, you can, but it is not fun, I should say.
Yeah, I was able to live on it because my husband and I both had jobs, but if I had been single, there's no way. I would have been struggling for sure.
Yeah, well, I am definitely impressed with you just making up your mind, saying like just quitting and just seeing what happens. Because when you get to that point and you're just like, I've had enough, then your brain kind of uses that adrenaline to say, I'm never going back to that. And you use that as fuel to your fire to make your dreams come true, essentially. So $20,000 a year. And what kind of income are you generating each month from working at home now?
Right now, I'm making about $5,000 a month.
Wow, it's a life-changing amount of money. And
yeah.
On your application, you said you've got a goal to double that in 2018. Is that correct?
Yep, I want to be a six-figure business owner by the end of 2018.
Wow, that is excellent. Let's talk about your confidence level. Because one thing that Work at Home Heroes, especially starting out, they tell me all the time, Caitlin, I just don't have the confidence that I think I need to make this happen. And my advice to those people is because you need to know what you're doing first. And if you just go into it thinking that you need the confidence, you need the momentum, you need the traction, before you even get started, you're not going to go anywhere. You've got to do it scared. And so let's talk about where you were from the start. Were you confident when I know you said your husband was skeptical, but what kind of obstacles for you got in the way mentally or emotionally when you first made that leap?
Yeah, I can honestly say I made a lot of mistakes and I was not as confident in myself as I am now. It's taken a lot of work on myself. And when I first started, I definitely undercharged my services and I didn't truly believe in myself. Like I knew I was capable of what I could do, but I didn't think beyond that. And I didn't present myself in a confident way. So yeah, it's taken 4.5 years to get to the level where I'm like, yeah, I am a badass business owner. Yeah, I am an expert. I can confidently say that now, but the me when I first started definitely would be hesitant to say that.
Yeah, and I don't think that is an uncommon thing. I definitely felt like that when I first started out. I'm like, well, I don't have any business doing this. I felt terrible asking for money for the things I was helping people do. But the more I did it and the more results I got for people, then I got more confident. But you actually have to do that. Would you say that that's what happened with you as well? The more you did the thing that you were scared to do or felt underconfident about, the more confidence you got?
Yeah, definitely. Once I had the clients to back me up and the strategy documents and the graphics, tangible things to show people, the reviews from people, that kind of stuff, it really helped boost my confidence. And then this past year, I worked with a mindset coach who really helped shift my beliefs and my blocks in my mindset to really step up and go to the next level.
Wow, that's really, really cool. And honestly, Melody, I'm really curious because you mentioned that you're working for free at first. And then when I introduced you to the audience, you have a specific niche. You work with female entrepreneurs and coaches. What can you tell us about the importance of niching down in terms of building a business and really zeroing in on who you want to serve?
So that was another mistake I made at first. I worked with anybody and everybody who would pay me. I had no niche. I was working all the time. Again, like I quit my corporate job to have less stress and work less. And yet here I was working 80 hours a week, making, again, piddly money compared to what other people in the industry were making. So about 1.5 years ago, I just said, okay, I can't do this. I need to reevaluate my business plan again because I'm stressed out and that's not why I do what I do. So I took some time and realized, okay, what are the things I really enjoy doing? Because prior to that, I was doing social media management, content creation, graphics, digital strategy, Facebook ads, you name it, I was doing it. And it was too much.
Yeah. And in the Work at Home Heroes community, one thing that I like to say pretty often is that generalists are broke. And it sounds like that you embodied that for a little while, but you got
Yeah.
You got smart. And we call it the ripple effect. We call it going a mile deep versus a mile wide. And by going a mile deep, really niching down, having the guts to decide, hey, these are this small niche of people that I'm going to serve. You go super, super deep. You throw that giant boulder into the lake, you're going to create a ripple effect a mile wide just by going deep. And so now you mentioned just briefly a few moments ago that you really had to decide why you were doing what you're doing. So what is your why? Why do you do what you do?
Because I really feel like female entrepreneurs and coaches, they have a zone of genius and they need to focus on that. And they need someone to come alongside them and share their stories in ads on their platforms in a way that gets them their soulmate clients, that gets them the people that are going to really connect with them. Because I see a lot of the marketing strategies that are marketed to these people are geared more towards men. And I think that female business owners have a different approach and they have a different story to tell. It's more vulnerable. It's more honest. It's more about connecting with them. And a lot of the marketing strategies and the ads don't do that. So I think there's definitely a place for me there to help them and come alongside them and kind of champion them in my zone of genius.
Yeah. And as a busy female entrepreneur, I know that is exactly what I need. That's a problem that I have. I can't do it all. I need somebody like a Melody in my life to take over that aspect of my business so I can focus on the message that I have to give to the world. And so, I don't do it all myself. There's a lot of people who think I do it all myself, but I don't. I have amazing team members who have chosen me as their niche, right?
Yeah.
And it sounds like you've done the exact same thing. Now, my next question, and just kind of shifting gears a little bit, actually shifting back to something you said earlier about how your husband was skeptical. You had some confidence issues. That's totally normal. A ton of us experience that as well. But I'm curious about the other people in your life. And you did mention that your work environment before, it was just like a toxic environment. But I'm curious about when you decided to make the leap and started working from home, you quit that job. Did you get any unsolicited feedback from other friends or other family members, people in your sphere of influence?
Yeah, no, most of them were very supportive, honestly. My parents still don't really understand what I do. They're not super tech savvy, and I don't think my in-laws do either, but they can all tell that I am doing well and that I'm happy and that it's a better fit for me. So as long as those things are happening, they're happy. And all of my friends were very encouraging. I had some friends that work from home too and work for themselves, and some others that I actually encouraged to make the leap as well. So we're all kind of in this together.
Well, I think that you brought up a very important point in that, especially for the folks that are listening and are like, wow, Melody's so lucky. She's had all the support from the very beginning, that if you don't have that support at home like Melody has, I didn't when I started out, my family was like, all right, well, you can go waste a year in South America or whatever. Like, we didn't have the support that you had. And so I know that there's other people that are feeling that same way. Then you need to find people that are in the same boat as you. And that's why, Work at Home Heroes and the Facebook group and everything exists. And I'm interviewing people that are working at home. And so there's people that want to work at home and they don't want to go it alone, and you don't have to. And so you can build that community, even if you don't have it right now. You can go and find people. They say that you're the sum. I think it's a quote from Jim Rohn. He says that you're the sum of the 5 people that you hang out with most. So you've got to change the people you hang out with. And you can do that online. You don't have to go and hang out with anybody in person if you don't want to. I highly recommend getting out of your comfort zone, especially if you work at home, because it can be isolating, right? And yeah. So let's talk about that for a minute then. How do you kind of navigate the work at home environment in terms of like combating that isolation or maybe staying focused, things like that?
Well, I am a very organized person.
That's good.
I'm definitely a type A kind of person. So I have my Google Calendar, I have my paper planner, I have a wall calendar, I have a calendar app that I use. I'm always changing things, organizing. And as far as isolation, it is hard. I think it was harder at first, but I definitely consider myself an introvert. Like, I love having friends and going out and stuff like that, but I am an introvert by nature. So I think that helps me be okay with working from home and not going into an office every day. But I do have to get out and go for a walk or meet somebody for coffee during the day, or just make sure I'm connecting with other human beings at some point so I don't feel crazy. Because sometimes I realize, I've talked to my clients on Skype and then I talk to the dogs, and that's the only people I talk to today. So So yeah, I definitely think you need to get into a routine of making yourself leave the house, even if it's just to go to the grocery or to get coffee or to go for a walk or something, just to get out in nature and around other people so you don't feel completely stuck.
Yeah, I can relate to that. You just kind of have to force yourself out of your office sometimes, especially if you really enjoy what you do and you have that momentum going. Sometimes it can be hard to stop. And so my next question is about that balance. How is your work-life balance? How many hours do you work during your typical day?
Well, when I first started, I was working all the time. I was working about 80 hours a week, but now I try to just work 40 hours a week. My goal for this year is to only work 3 or 4 days a week and take Fridays off to just work on my business, because I've found what I do for my clients is very hands-on and time-consuming, and I love it. I love it. But I kind of put my business stuff, my ads, my strategy, my content to the side sometimes, and I need time to work on that. So I'm trying to set aside that time each week.
Yeah, I think that's really good. So let's talk about some specifics of making that change. Because I asked you, what's next for you? Are you happy with where you are? Are you going to be trying to grow? And you said that you want to grow to 6 figures. So let's talk a little bit about that tactically. Mm-hmm. What are you going to do to get there?
Well, I just launched my first group course. It started on Monday, which was super exciting.
Congratulations.
Yeah, so that is kind of a beta for me right now to see how that goes. I'm also in the process of redoing my branding and my whole website so that it appeals to my target audience instead of the generalized people as it did before. So those two things combined, I think, are going to be really good. And I'm going to start doing 2 different levels. I'm going to have packages that are really going to be geared towards 6-figure business women. And then I'm going to have courses for people who are more newbie entrepreneurs who need support and want to learn how to do ads on their own.
Yeah, I think that's a really, really good idea, because Facebook ads are just exploding. Any business can use them. Any business can benefit from them. I mean, even in my little business, Proofread Anywhere, I use advertising as well. And that's a very small niche. Anybody who has a proofreading business can use ads as well. And so if I can use them, you can use them. If you're listening to this podcast right now, there's probably a use for Facebook ads for you as well. So I think that's a great course idea. So final question, Melody, and that is, I want to get some advice from you, because there's people listening to this podcast right now and they've been inspired by your journey and that you took the leap and quit your job to do something that you really wanted to do. You figured out your why, you niched down, you did all the right things, and you're growing your business. You're going to get to 6 figures in 2018. I'm super excited for you about that. But there are people that are listening and they're still so scared to get started. They're shaking in their boots and they're just afraid to take that first step. What advice would you give to those people?
Just do it. Honestly, just sit down, and I'm all about journaling. So sit down and journal why you are amazing and what you want to do. Brainstorm your big vision and then break that big vision into goals and just go for it, girl. Just go for it. Because honestly, you only have one life. And do you really want to have your whole life at that desk job that makes you feel crappy? Because I don't. I definitely did not. I can't imagine going back to an office now. I feel like so many people are stuck in that, well, I've got to save for retirement and I've got to, do X, Y, Z. And they don't realize that there's this whole world that you can be a part of. It doesn't mean you have to, make 6 figures. You don't have to do that. You don't have to be that ambitious if you don't want to be, but it is possible.
Yeah. And the pie is really, really big. I love to say that the internet is an ever-expanding universe that's expanding faster than the actual universe, and we can all have a piece of the pie. And you've certainly got your piece of the pie, and it's growing rapidly. We're super excited for you here at the podcast, Melody. And we want to say thank you so much for your time. Where can people reach you? Because I know there's going to be people who have questions about your business and how you got started that we were not able to answer in this podcast. Yeah. So where can they find you?
My business is called Swiftly Social Digital Marketing. And my website is being redone. But right now you can find it at swiftly-social.com. And then I'm under Swiftly Social Digital Marketing on Facebook. And I'm on Instagram under mgspencer10.
Awesome. Well, you guys can go find Melody, stalk her online, and ask her all the questions you want about how she grew her work-at-home business. Thanks again for being with us on Work at Home Heroes podcast, Melody.
Yeah, thank you.
Well, thanks again for listening, everyone. I hope you got some value from this episode. There will be links in the show notes. As always, feel free to join our Work at Home Heroes Facebook community where we discuss all the episodes in a dedicated thread. If you found this episode useful or any of the past episodes, I'd love it if you would leave us a review. It will help us reach more people with our message and keep bringing you these success stories. Talk to you in the next episode.
Thanks for listening to the Work at Home Heroes podcast with Caitlin Pyle. Be sure to listen to previous episodes at caitlinpyle.co/podcast. While you're there, read the show notes and check out all the great links and resources mentioned in this episode and more. You can also subscribe to the Work at Home Heroes podcast so you'll automatically be notified when our next episode is available. Remember, as Caitlin says, mo skills means mo money.